Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fashion Avenue News. I'm your host, Sophia Davis, and tonight we have the Queen of Style, Miss Wendy Isaac. Before we get into our interview with the Queen, let's have a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the Queen of Style, Miss Wendy Isaac. Wendy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Welcome. Thank you so much, Fashion Mom. I am so excited. I'm so excited to be in the spotlight, in the interview spotlight today.
Well, we are happy to have you because we know the Queen is always busy and she, fit us into her schedule. So we are going to jump right into the questions because she has a lot to tell us. Now, talk a little bit about your fashion beginnings. You're from St. Kitts, and there you won numerous beauty competitions. Talk about it.
Yes, I am from St. Kitts Nevis. It's a small island, but we are very strong with our culture. And I started at the age of maybe 8, 9 at entering pageants and entering my school pageant, entering the international pageants, where I crowned several queens and was international queen in many areas. And I said the styling started around age 8, 7, 8, because I had an older sister and I always was into fashion, always was looking at how to do things differently. And I never wanted to be the norm I never wanted to wear the norm. So I would cut my clothes up. I would take markers and color them. And even though my mom would be upset, I wanted to do that. One time she even said to me, if you take a marker and color your dress one more time, because you don't want it to be that color,
you're going to be in big trouble, right?
You're going to get it. So then I went to my grandmother, and she's the one who started to show me color blending, what colors match, how to put colors together, how to put patterns together. And she was a seamstress. So she started teaching me little things. And then I started dressing my sister when we go out.
You used to as your mannequin, your live mannequin.
Yes.
Your live mannequin.
She was my live mannequin. And imagine I'm dressing my older sister. And she's like, okay, if that you said that goes, okay, I'll wear it. And she never ever said that she didn't want to wear anything that I put together for her. And that's what I loved about her. She always trusted me. So I would dress myself, then I would dress her. And then before you knew it, I was dressing other girls in the village, in the community.
Excellent.
And it was more of taking one of my shirts or one of my pants and giving it to them. And my mom not knowing. And just creating a style, whether cutting it with a scissor, doing something to make it look different because we all were going to go out. And that's where it started. And for me, I would tell my grandmother how I wanted to look, and she would create the garment for me until she started to teach me how to sketch. And she used to teach sewing in the community every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. So I will go, even though I was so young. I will go, I'll pick up the thread, I'll pick up the scraps on the floor. It was more for me to get involved and see what was going on. But I did it. And then I made my first dress at age 10. I could never forget that dress. It was red and white. It had ruffles around the waist. And I wore that dress everywhere, Miss Sophia Davis, everywhere, because I was so proud of that dress that I made that dress. And then it started with my pencil skirt. And up to this day, I still love pencil skirts. So for me, it was about, how can I look different? How can I not look the same? And at age 8 and 10, think about, I'm going to catalogs, because at that time it was these huge catalogs. They were this big. And I was going to catalogs and I was saying,
Yeah.
oh, I like this, I like that. Because there was no internet at that time. So you had all these big catalogs that came from United States of America. And my aunt was sending them for me. And I was like, oh my God, I love this. And I just changed the aesthetic of the outfit. And that's who I am. And that's made me who I am up today. In high school, my friends call me the trendsetter. And they call me Tina because I would set the trend and they would follow. And they didn't care what it was. Once Wendy was wearing it, it was okay. And that's where it started.
Well, that is fabulous. And you certainly have made an impact, especially here in New York City. Now, where did you get your inspiration? Did you watch something? I know that there used to be a show on Style with Elsa Clinch. Did that have any effect on you?
Elsa Clinch was one of my idols. Every Saturday at 10 o'clock and Sunday at 11 o'clock, I will sit behind. At that time, it was black and white television because it wasn't color. Mm-hmm. I would sit behind that black and white television and I would make sure that my chores were done because I didn't want my mom saying that I couldn't watch the show because she knew that I wanted to watch this show. And there was a reason why I was watching this show and she couldn't understand it. I would watch the models. I knew about Versace, Givenchy at a young age. So I was like saying all these designers and my friends were like, what? I said, one of these days I'm going to go to America and I'm going to be somebody. And they were like, are you? I said, I'm going to walk on a runway in America because that is what I'm going to do. And I used to have my mom heels. And I used to practice in my mom 6 inches through the house.
Wow.
I will watch Elsa Clinch talk about style and the models coming out and the way they walk, I would be walking just like them in the house. And I will mimic them because at that time, you didn't have anybody to teach you model and runway and editorial at that time. It was whatever you saw on television or in the magazines. So I will practice. I will wait till Elsa Clinch came on Saturday and I will have my heels there and I will listen to the stories because of the famous designers. And I'm like, look at that garment. Look at that outfit. And in my head at such a young age, it was just going. My friends couldn't understand why I love this show. But it was an inspiration to me because it ticked something in my heart, in my brain, because that's what I wanted to do. That's where I wanted to go. And my island didn't have that. So it was my Saturday and Sunday mornings looking at this show for 1 hour and making sure I digest everything. And then I'm going to go to school and I'm going to tell them and I'm going to mimic. And they said, Wendy, I don't know about you, but this dream, who is this lady, Elsa Clinch on CNN? And I'm like, yes, you guys got to watch her. And that's where my inspiration came from. And I used to even speak like Elsa Clinch. Welcome. Yes, and I loved it because she was such an aesthetic. And at that time, that was only the runway show that was on throughout. Right. You know, and you would hear her name throughout the magazines. If you were interviewed by Elsa Clinch, you made it. And everybody knew her and everybody spoke so highly of her and her shows and what she brought to her show that made me, okay, you know what? I'm gonna be one of those people walking on the runway one day. And it happened. And my mom said, you know what? I tried to curb you. she always
did that with you.
But it didn't work because every time she went left, I think I went left and around.
And that's amazing because this is in your heart. This is what you want to do. And it's proven because by the time of 18 years old, you had shut it down. You had gotten an editorial in a magazine and signed with a model agency, and you were on your way. Talk about that.
And the thing about the Model Scouts came to St. Kitts. I remember that day very well. And I was at school and I had my heels in my bag because I hid them. I hid them because I was in high school and I hid them. And I said, okay, I heard the Model Scouts are around in the city. And I said, they're going to watch me. They're going to pick me. And I went in the city after school and we found these scouts. And they were looking and we started walking. We said, we know what we could do. I started walking and there was another one of my friends. We started walking, put my heels on, had my heels all shiny, looking nice. I was in my uniform. I was like, wow. And the lady was like so nice. And she's like, well, I have to meet your mom because you're minor, your parents. So I said, no problem. Here's my address and here's my phone number. I gave it to her. So now the next step was, how am I going home to say this to my parents? That I left school and I met this lady who came from America and she likes me and she wants to do an editorial and she wants to shoot me. I was like, how am I going to explain this? Because I'm wrong all over. Everything is wrong that I did. But I went home and we were eating dinner and the phone rang. The phone rang. I was in so much trouble. And my mom picked up and she was like, asked to speak to my mom. And then she said, I met your daughter today and she's really pretty and she has a different look that I would love to shoot her. And she showed me some of her pictures that she did for modeling runway shows and fashion shows and pageants. And I would definitely love to shoot. I'm here for 1 week. So my mom said, okay, hold on 1 minute. So my sister is like kicking me under the table. My dad is asking what's going on. And I'm like, well, I was in town and I had my shoes and I walked for this lady and I gave her the number to call because I want to do the editorial. So my mom said, okay, I'm gonna get back to you. Do you have a number? She took a number. She was staying at a hotel and she took the number. And my mom asked me all these questions. And I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna get a beating, I'm gonna get a beating now, but I want to do the shoot. So she invited the lady over to the house to meet her. Mm-hmm. She met the lady. The lady had the forms and everything. And then my mom called in an attorney to see exactly what was going on. Because, we didn't know what was going on. We don't know anything. I was like very excited. And I overstepped my parents basically to do something that I loved, which was not good. And then my mom, after she finished, she said, just so you know, this is 1 hour hanging in the closet for you. I know what that meant. But I was like, okay, I'm going to do this shoot. I'm going to get in this magazine. And that I didn't care about anything else, Fashion Mom. I did not care about the beating, the punishment that I'm going to be punished for maybe a month. I can't do another show for a month on the island. I did not care about anything. All I knew, this is what I wanted to do. And I was going to do it. So long story short, the lady, she signed, we did the editorial. And then it was, after that, the magazine hit the racks in St. Kitts. And after that, it was international. And then I went to Miami and there is where it started. And my mom was happy. She was proud. And up to this day, she's like, I couldn't believe that you approached this lady. I said, because this is something that was passionate to me, even though I knew my education was a must. This was something that was inside of me. I couldn't hold it back, Fashion Mom. I could not hold that back because if I did, it felt like I would have been stifled.
You wouldn't have been happy. You had to do it. Yes, exactly. You had to do it.
So for me, it was something of, I do this, I get punished, okay. But at least this lady saw my work, saw who I am, and has an idea. And if my mom and dad want to punish me, okay, but you know what? I'm going to take the risk of getting the punishment. And it's okay. So I did it.
You list. And look at you now. Ladies, and that's right, you're doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with the queen of style, Miss Wendy Issac. And we'll be right back in just a moment. Let's talk to our sponsors. Back in a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back on Fashion Avenue News, and I am here with the queen of style, Miss Wendy Issac, the boss lady, darling. Yes. And now she's here in New York City. She's, really doing her thing. But let's talk about those fabulous events that she does. Now, I have to tell the story of when I went to her very first event that I attended. I was a VIP guest. I got there early on, kind of like maybe a half hour. And when I got there, there was not a seat in the house. Wait. I don't think you understand. People were literally outside. So I went right through because, of course, I was VIP. I mean, I was on the flyer. But guess what? There was not one seat. And I loved it. I was like, now I love this. Some people would have been upset because they didn't have a seat, but I wasn't. I loved it because I said, now this lady here, I didn't even know what she looked like. But I said, this lady here knows what she's doing. And I went over to the side. I was standing up and a gentleman saw me. I think he was a football player because she had some celebrities there as well. And he said to me, Miss, do you have a seat? So I said, well, no, but they'll probably get me one. And he said, listen, take my seat. And, if your seat comes, then, I'll sit there. And he gave me his seat. And that is how I got a seat at her event. They are always sold out. Let's talk a little bit about that event.
That was my first event in New York City. And I forgot, honestly, how many people I knew or how many people knew of Wendy Issac. And when the event was sold out days before I think a week prior to the show, the event was sold out. And I saw the line outside and I was like, oh my God. They're going to call the fire department for me. I'm going to be in so much trouble. But I said, you know what? We got this. We got this. And everybody was so excited that to see a fashion event from multiple designers around the Caribbean come to New York to show their collections. And I think it was more of the excitement that there's a Caribbean event. And they were so happy to see that. And they were so happy to see that it was hosted by myself. So it was amazing. The event, we had 17 designers, international designers. We had models, 60 to 70 models. We had vendors. We had press and media. You were there. Celebrities from around the Caribbean were there. And it was the energy and the excitement in the environment was just amazing. It was a night filled of fun, great achievement. It was a memory. And up to this day, people still tell me about that show. You shut down Lower Manhattan, Wendy. You shut down that place. It was awesome. And when you came in and they came in the back and I said, oh my God, does she have a seat? Is she seated? They're like, yes, she is. She's fine. I said, did you give her some water? They're like, we got it. We got it. And I was so excited that you were able to make it and come and be a part of the Caribbean. Because I know that you have been in the Caribbean and you have done multiple events in the Caribbean where we have always passed ways. We never interacted, but we always passed ways. Virgin Islands, St. Kitts. So it was more of now that we can connect. It was great. And I think that out of this greatness, you've been my mentor for so long now. And we've been working together ever since. So
and you are doing an amazing job. I mean, you know, event after event after event has been nothing but fabulous. Now, talk about your yacht event. I think it's all white. I think it's all white. Am I right? That you
all white.
La Cofer Styles the water.
La Cofer Styles the water. And
I love it.
That was just a 4-hour event, 5-hour event. And we knew we had limited time, but I had an amazing team. And I got to tell them, the amazing team, we had 30 minutes to get the yacht ready. And I remember that day clearly. It rained. And then they were like, Wendy, what are you going to do? I said, no, we're going to have everything inside. We're going to do everything like how we planned. Just that no one will be able to go outside because it's raining. We had the red carpet. We had everything. By the time everybody was boarded, the place was already set. It was set. It was all white all over. Downstairs with the tables for dinner. It was amazing. And the people enjoyed themselves. And it was 7 designers and they had a great time. And I know you did an amazing press release on it. And thank you so much. And you were part of the press. And I can't say enough about it because it was really good. It was a really good event.
That was an amazing event. And the thing that I really enjoyed about the event is even though it rained, nobody even noticed the rain. When we walked in, all the decor was finished. The show started basically on time.
Yes.
You had, you know, kind of like food for everyone, different things. I mean, it was really, really an amazing event. And I just was like, I was very impressed with that, to be able to do it and pull it off on like a yacht. I thought that was fabulous. Now, you also are a designer in your own right because you do a resort wear show.
Yes, I did.
Resort wear collection as well as a show. But talk about the resort wear collection.
The resort wear is, I grew up near the beach. So for me, it's a reflection of everything that I could not wear. Okay. Growing up in a strict family household. My mom was very strict. My dad was he was very strict. So there are certain things that you could not wear. So my imagination and my thoughts came from, how can I be classy and yet sophisticated and yet a little sexy? And that was where it came from, because we are females. And as a female, we want to feel all of that in one. And that's how I created and I came up with that. My first show is where I first launched that collection. And then the collection grew year after year. And now I'm known for the person who brings it to the runway.
Resort wear collection. That is fabulous. Now, your resort wear is classy. It's sexy, but classy. It's never, how do you pick your models for your collection? What do you look for in a model?
For me, in the models, they have to be a certain height as well. So I try to go industry, 5'8" and above, 5'9" and above, and the aesthetics of the industry. Sometimes I do step out of the industry's realms just because I want to maybe look at a different audience and a different demographic. But when I'm doing fashion runway shows and fashion week shows, I stick with my industry sizes. And what I look for models that have a body that can detail the outfit. And when I say a body, not too much behind, not too much bust line, just the right amount, which is industry. And we want to make sure the garment is hugging the body. Like it's just hugging the body in detail. That when that model comes on the runway, it's just like, boom. It's made for the body. So I look at that body aesthetic when I'm looking at that and I'm detailing it. And then the accessories comes in play with it. So it's all about giving you somewhat, yes, I'm going to a black tie affair, but it's on the beach, or it's at the swimwear, it's on a pool, or it's on a yacht. That's the idea behind my resort wear. And that's how I choose my models.
And that's fabulous because every single model you have chosen, it looks as if the garment is made for that model. Now, what do you think is needed as far as work ethic? Because one of the things I like about what you do is when you do a show or a casting or whatever you're doing, you start on time, you finish on time. Everybody knows when it starts and there is no being late.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about kind of professionalism in the industry. What is needed?
I do feel that a lot of times, for me, timing is everything. I think that you have in your brand and you who you work for yourself, you have to make sure that you start your event on time. The reason why, it gives other individuals to have to plan. Basically, you have a life outside of my event or my casting. So if I say to you, my casting or my event is from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., trust me, it's going to start at 1 p.m. and it's going to finish at 3 p.m. The reason why, I have a lot of celebrities that come, yourself, and help with the castings and come to the shows and are invited VIPs. And they do have things to do after. So I have to make sure I'm in alignment with everything that I'm doing and make sure it's professional. My show starts exactly at 5:30 p.m. and it ends by 9 p.m. And everybody knows that. So for me, if you want to plan or you're coming into the city and you want to plan either to stay overnight or go take do a late dinner, business dinner, you know that by 9:30, you could be at your dinner plans. Or if you have a flight to catch after my show, you know you could get the last flight out. There's no ends, ifs, or buts. We run on time because designers come internationally and some of them do leave right after or the next day. So we want to make sure we coincide with everybody's schedule. And if there's a hiccup, nobody even knows because my team, we fix that right away. Nobody would even know if there's a hiccup, if there's a designer that got ill, a designer couldn't make it. The program still runs and everything finishes on time. And I think in this industry, I think it comes with discipline. It comes with maturity and professionalism. And it comes also with what are you looking to get next in terms of your next event. So everybody will know this event is professional. It's going to start on time and it's going to finish on time. So for you have your shows as well. And you know, if you don't get seated by a certain time, you can't enter that event. And that's how it works in New York City. And I think that everybody need to work like that because sometimes I want to make a plan after a fashion event or a runway show, but I can't because I'm not unsure. And sometimes I have to leave a little bit earlier, which sometimes I don't like to do, but I have to because it's running beyond the time frame that I anticipated. So I think as business people and business professional, we need to be respectful. We need to have some sort of pride. And we need to make sure we are disciplined in the time frames and the events that we're having and make sure that they start and they have an end time. It's not infinity. They need to have an end time.
Well, I think that that's one of the most important things. And I think that that is why a lot of people love your events because you start and you finish on time. And as you said, if someone wants to go somewhere after, they can make a plan because they know that they're going to start on time and you're going to finish on time. Also, it lets people know that are used to coming late, that if you come late to my event, darling, you will be standing. And I think that's very important because you know what? You're training people that if they're coming to your event, which is a professional event,
yes,
that they have to come on time. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking with the Queen of Style. We're going to say hello to our sponsors, and we'll be right back in just a moment.